Hey everyone, YouTube's Giles here. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. It's gone to the point now, where I feel like my mind lets me know when I want to make a video because I just start talking to myself. I was sitting there doing some work this morning. That's what we're doing. It's like I did a few videos ago. I'm just going to continue doing work and have a bit of a chat with you while I do it. Because I was just sitting there doing it, and it's something a bit monotonous. Basically, I'm updating one old character that I've got to rebuild in using a more modern template, and it's really boring. And I notice when I start doing something like that, sooner or later I just start having a full-blown chat with myself, and I got like my music playing and everything, but I really am discussing the issues of the world just with myself. So, I suppose one thing I first want to talk about is how well the channel's been doing recently, which that's really cool, But at the same time, I'm getting used to getting more comments. I'm not used to it. I'm really not used to it. And the thing is, I've always been a person who I have to. I prefer giving people full responses. Like YouTube gives you those like auto suggests. Like thanks. Thanks for a little heart. And I've always sort of thought, oh god, that's so stupid. I was like, imagine using those to respond to people that have really, have really taken the time to think about what they're saying to you, and to just give them a template response. But I am starting to understand the existence thereof, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, if I responded to every comment with the amount that I would want to, there might not be room in the rest of the day for absolutely anything else. So, if I'm ever responding to you and I seem a little blunt, or I don't know, you see me responding to someone using more words than I use to respond to you, it's not going to be you specifically, The fact is, I'm quite sassy online. Like, if I really didn't like you, I'd probably let you know. I I seem to have no issue arguing with people online. So I would never like do that thing where you're just blunt for the sake of being blunt, But yeah, like, I've been sort of going through all different ideas for this channel, and off the back of autism, what we can do with it moving forward. Um, I mean, there's a lot of focus on my interests and the things that I like, and I am looking to, when I talk about, in the last video I mentioned like the not safe for work content that I make, but there's also not safe for work content that I like. And we're not necessarily talking, your triple X content. We're also talking your B movies and your retro stuff. And I am gradually looking to marry my art world with this channel, now that I understand more what's going on with myself. Because before, it's if you really don't know what's going on, you can not only make assumptions of yourself for the art that you're drawn towards, you can make assumptions of what you think other people are going to make of you. And that's the thing that I've mentioned this before. That was the thing that always baffled me, which was when I wanted to keep my art separate from this channel. Like I said, the more risque art, it would always sort of throw me for a loop, because I'd think to myself, well, the issue isn't like the explanation of it. If anything, I've got all of the explanation I need. You know, I've sort of studied how the psychology works, but I didn't sort of realise where the blockage was, and that I think that ironically, not ironically, I don't want to misuse that word, but I think, funnily enough, the issue was not in the erotic elements of it. It was actually more in the violent elements of it. And I got a comment from someone a couple of days ago, which took me right back to this. Let's see, I've gotten a number of comments. Let's see if I can actually find it. I don't actually know how to say that username. AV Girl Austin TX. AV Girl Austin, Texas? Is that? If that is Texas, I'm going to be suspicious that I am like a long lost Texan, because for some reason, I don't know what it is. The stuff that I produce elsewhere, and not safe for work stuff, I'm really popular in Texas, and I don't know why. So if that's now coming through to this world as well, there's just something about me that magnetizes Texans. I did grow up watching Super Ted, but that villain, that was a villain. Did you ever watch that? His name was Texas Pete. But we thought he was hilarious, and we did a lot of impressions of him. Let's see. Because she mentions... where is it? I think this is the comment. Anyway, hang on a second. I'd never thought about it, but looking back, I try not to offend people. And no, I didn't try to not offend people. I tried to offend people. I made art, and a lot of the times I was trying to get some kind of reaction out of people. I feel that on every step. That was one of the things that drew me to adult content, was because I thought, and you know, I didn't know at the time where this was coming from, but I sort of thought that, well, to be quite honest with you, I thought sexuality was a bit stupid. I didn't get what the big deal was. You know, like people make they write epics about it, and I just thought I'd be like, why? You know. So I feel like half the time when I was writing stuff like that, I was just sort of playing with it and making something fun out of it. That's the thing that I sort of judge myself a little bit for hiding it away, because I'm sort of like, to me it's fun. It's not, you know, like, God, you see how seriously people take it, and the sheer balloon animals that they tie themselves into for it. When I'm just like, it's all stupid, and it's a lot of fun. But a lot of the time, that feeling inspired me to come at it from more of a satirizing kind of angle, you know. Let's see, I made things that were intentionally offensive or ugly. One of my teachers asked me one time, why can't I ever make anything nice? I when I was a kid, they called my mum in because I drew a picture of Kintaro from Mortal Kombat, who I always thought was way cooler than Goro. But Kintaro ripping Scorpion's head off. And, you know, it's interesting because you don't, well, for me anyway, it wasn't conscious. I wasn't, you know, I wasn't drawing it for that particular reason. But I think I think as you get older, you become more conscious of that being a long of not being a long-term issue for you, but being a long-term issue for the boring wankers you have to deal with in life who get offended. You know, like it's sort of like when I drew Kintaro ripping Scorpion's head off. It wasn't like take that society, you know. It wasn't like I'm gonna draw something bloody and edgy and you know. But then the second you know, sort of my mum gets involved, who was utterly baffled by it because she was like, "Well, it's a video game. Like, shut up," you know. Which is how I felt about it, because it was everything that was being addressed was aptly rationalized in my head. Like it didn't need any teacher intervention. But it was just a severe lack of trust. And you know what? Lack of trust and a lack of talking to me about it. Talking to me about it. Which would easily let you know that I understand what I have depicted and how little of a deal it is. I'm you know, you talk to me for 2 seconds and I'm not going to tell you that this is the world that I hope to create, or this is what I want happening in reality. It was simply Mortal Kombat is cool, Kintaro is cool, not really that fond of Scorpion, who does not exist. Therefore, because he does not exist, it's perfectly alright to rip his head off. You can rip the heads off of people who don't exist. That might sound a little bit prejudiced, but they don't exist to be offended. Don't worry about it. But yeah, no, they didn't care what I had to say. Would they? Well, I mean, they didn't even ask to hear it, you know. But let's see. Let's see if there's anything else in that comment. Yeah, and obviously I didn't know I was on the spectrum at all when all of that was sort of going on, because I didn't well, you know, I only worked it out a little while ago. Let's see. I still don't know for sure 100%, but a lot of signs point to it. Yeah, I think the thing is, sorry, by the way, I'm hyper focusing on this one comment. Phil complimented it, just stuck in my head for some reason. And all this time I didn't know I was on the spectrum. I mean, I don't know for sure 100%, but a lot of signs point to it. I think it is so difficult because this knowledge of being on the spectrum is so it's hard because there's such a long waiting period, and you know, I don't understand why it's not it's not taken more seriously, because that long waiting period, so many things can happen in your head during that time. When you think about the minefield of like self-doubt and questioning oneself and sort of like, am I, aren't I, am I, aren't I? But the thing is that it's a it's a whole odyssey for one to go on, and if you're not completely sold on it, it's sort of it's hard to know whether to begin this long journey or not. It's really difficult, and you get to the point where it's sort of like, well, if you go to get diagnosed, by the time you're actually being assessed, the only answer they can give you that is acceptable is you are, and that you are officially diagnosed. And if they don't give that, then all you're going to want to do is appeal it, and that's caused from there being such a stupid waiting period. When I think this is why I made that video when I was talking about how common I feel it is. I feel like that degree of how common it is is part and parcel of why I'm sort of like, well, it needs to be diagnosed, quicker, better, and need to get rid of these stupid waiting periods, because this is life-changing stuff. Like, for example, I'm going to go down the route of PIP, and that will help me get LCW, limited capability for work, on universal credit. Now, this isn't because I don't want to work. I do want to work, but there's a lot for me to figure out in the meantime, and shoving me in any job you can think of right now would be extremely unhelpful to everyone involved. All I'm going to do is waste that employer's time, piss off the people that I'll be working with, when if it was something more official, can make sure that I wind up somewhere that will be suited for me. Or alternatively, with the understanding that I have autism, it will make my work easier, which I got to admit, that is on the cards right now at the moment. And I think actually, if this what I'm working on right now, if it does well, I think I'll start sharing with you, because I don't, the whole idea I came up with was just to focus on producing for one character. I told you guys I have thousands and thousands of characters that I've produced for over the years, and I thought to myself, what if I just create one really solid, decent story? Now, I've tried to do that before, and it hasn't worked. And the reason it hasn't worked is because I have been unaware that I might be autistic. So my mind is still going at the speed of light, and it is changing things out. And every time I go, this will be a good idea, I should stick with this, my brain just suddenly goes, oh, look, a shiny thing. What if we do this? What if we do that? Whilst if I have it registered in my head that there is an issue with the speed, the velocity, the recklessness of which my mind moves at, then I can keep it on the forefront of my thoughts. And I can sort of, it gives me that ability to go, oh, hold on, Giles. It gives me that ability to sort of say, not only do you want to focus on one project to be successful, but you understand why that is a particular issue with you, and that it's not just, you sort of going, oh, slow down, Giles. You're always so rash with everything. There is actually a functional issue with how my brain works that is affecting the focus. So I can stop taking it out on me being inadequate, or me being lazy or childlike, or any of the things I've called myself in the past. I can just recognize it as an issue caused by autism, and it just requires a different way to get around it. That's it. But I can't get to this conclusion with full confidence. I mean, you guys are helping me. You guys are, in the absence of a formal diagnosis, I'm getting assistance from you guys, from practitioners that are giving help wherever they can, friends that I've got who are also autistic. That all helps me accept this issue, so that I can focus on finding a way around what autism presents me with. But the actual diagnosis is going to take time, and that is why all of what I just said is exactly why why you see so many people in the autistic community just saying, if you feel you've got it, it's best to just go ahead and act like you've got it. You know, like act under the assumption that you've got it. Beg your pardon, not act like I'm going to pretend. Although I think though that throws another monkey wrench into the works, which is as soon as it's considered and you assume it, that you assume you have it, it actually. I lack better words to use right now, but it makes your autism worse in the sense that you feel more comfortable masking less, and that that leads you to do a few more autistic things. You have a bit of an orgasm, as I said a few videos ago. But yeah, I think that's the thing. Like when someone says, like in this comment, when I said, I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of signs point to it. That's how I feel about that, because I'm still going through that. I'm still sort of going, like every time I talk about something, I go, is that just me being awkward? Am I just being awkward, and I'm pinning that on autism? And the case is it's too chronic, it's too aligned with everybody else that's talking to me about autism, and it's too in association with other things associated with autism. I feel like when you're looking up and researching autism, you build a like a portfolio of behaviour and evidence, and that's what structures it all together. And I know you get people that get cynical about the approach of like, I'm socially awkward, maybe I'm autistic, but I still believe that when it clicks, it does click. It's not like people have those sort of unsavory comparisons of like people thinking that ailments and stuff are cool and stuff like that, and so they romanticize having something up with them. People like that, I'll tell you something, unless they're out scamming people for money, they don't bother me. And I think it's because I just sort of think to myself, well, if you are in a state enough to make up something up with you, it sounds like there's something else up with you. I think there's still an issue there, even if it's not the issue that you're pretending to have. Pretend disease or something. Like I don't think I don't think it's without without ailment, or it's coming from somewhere. Let's see. So maybe the self-defense mechanism was trying to be offensive intentionally instead of an accident. Yeah, the thing is, what she's saying is like, the feeling of difference sort of guiding you to create art that is that sort of bites a little bit at society, and but it's like I said, I think a lot of it comes from exasperation, because at one point you're creating art that you just want to do, and then there is that degree of frustration, that sort of feeling of difference, because neurotypical entertainment is very it's immensely broad, and it doesn't if you're wise to it and if you understand how it works, it's immensely depressing, because it can feel like a lonely life, because it can feel like nothing is ever made or created with you in mind. and unfortunately, that's how I felt most of my life. I feel like I like things that have volume to them. I like things that have pride to them, and you look at like mainstream tends not to do that, because the more the larger a company is, the more detractors it has to be concerned about, and those detractors, they can be they can get very powerful, especially when you get these sort of bored mother associations that ban scary movies and stuff like that. Sometimes they hold a hell of a lot of power. A great documentary to watch is, I think it's called This Film Is Not Yet Rated. Film is not yet rated, I believe. Mind. This Film Is Not Yet Rated. That is what it's called. It's a documentary about the. Now it is American, but I think whether you're in America or not, I think it's still relevant. It's all about censorship and the rating system in America, and how badly it can affect a movie. Like if your movie's slightly too violent and you get let's see, the NC-17 rating, how that can severely limit how many cinemas your film will appear in, which will in turn greatly damage the success of the movie. And the film explores the board that make the ratings and how they come to their decisions, and how creepy and cult-like the whole thing is. But they hold a huge amount of power, and what makes them decide that something is more or less extreme is very interesting. There's a great quote from someone in it. I forget her name, because it's got lots of talking head directors, and there's like a feminist director, and she said that it's considered more acceptable to shoot a man in the head than to show a woman pleasuring herself. That's messed up. When you think about that, that is so messed up as to what is considered more extreme in a movie. But when you think about that, all of this stuff is what goes into shaping neurotypical entertainment, and because it doesn't face that critical analysis. And a lot of it is surviving on yesterday's money. Like the yesterday's money is a term I use to describe when a company just has enough money to survive. Like it doesn't matter how crap the film is. You look at like Disney's a great example. Disney, they're putting out anal hemorrhoid after anal hemorrhoid, but people keep consuming it, and it's sort of it's a great example of yesterday's money, because they know no matter how bad the film is, they will always know how to survive. They know the avenues of marketing in which to sustain the money that they've made, so they've got no excuse, no reason to make the film any better. And this again, this all files into the great haunting blancmange that is mainstream entertainment. And I'm not a fan. whilst you just got, I don't know, two dicks with a camera in the middle of a desert and they want to make a B movie, they're going to make something more compelling. It's inevitable. There's no sponsors breathing down their neck. There are no censorship people telling them what they can or can't make. There are no You know, that there's no legal threats or all this sort of stuff. It's going to be a better film. It might not be made up to industry standards. There might be technical problems. There might, you know, be poor resolution, bad editing, acting is not up to snuff. Well, mind you, the acting is going to be better no matter what happens, because Hollywood has like 4 man characters to play and 4 women characters to play, and if you're not any one of those, you're not in a Hollywood movie. So they're all right there. But the point is that it's like, I keep saying that there's no excuse that for people to not be making their own films now, and especially now that we got like cameras on our phones, you know. But that's neither. Actually, no, it's not here or there. That's right here. I've got to stop saying that. That's like a common idiom of mine. That's neither here nor there. If I ever like release merchandising, that will be what is on it. That's neither here nor there. But yes, do you know what? I'm going to leave it here, and I don't really know how AV Girl lost in Texas feels about her comment accidentally becoming the entire basis of this video, but that's what happened. I hope you've enjoyed this. I've barely made any progress at all, and I've been quite concentrated on this work the whole time. I think it looks dreadful, but that is that. We will reconvene at a later date. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.